How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. So we have pictures of wildlife with us tonight. He can say his name, what he does, and all that jazz.
Sweet man. My name's JJ Powell, based out of Los Angeles, and I'm the guitarist, bassist, producer, one man show.
There we go. Awesome. Well, I want to preface that I asked JJ, I was like, man, your band's really cool. I was just like, you have anybody else in your band? And he's like, nope, it's just me. I'm the one man show. So I felt extremely dumb for like a hot second. So, which is totally cool. But, I guess more specifically, and it kind of tailors into my next question, which is, how did you start out Pictures of Wildlife? And more specifically, I guess the name, because you're saying like you're basically like a solo artist. So I'm curious, in terms of like you're going under a name moniker instead of like your actual name. I feel like a lot of solo artists like choose to go that route, and they're like, my name's like XYZ, and this is this is my band. So I know that was a weighted question, but I'm curious to
No
delve
worries.
into all of it.
Sure. The idea for the project came from when I was a freshman in college. I just got into college and I started recording music, got more interested in that and playing music. So some guy in my dorm said, "Hey, if you ever start a band, it'd be funny if you called it Pictures of Wildlife because my last name is Powell." He's like, "If
Oh,
you drop most of the vowels, ends up being kind of like this." So it's a weird moniker. So I sat on the name for like 10 years. And then COVID hit, and I was listening to the new Cloud Kicker album, and I was like, I want to do this so bad. It would be so fun to do just some like instrumental post rock,
yeah.
and just like all on my own. I know I think he's a pilot.
I believe
Um,
so. I think you're correct. Yeah, Cloud, which by the way, Cloud Kicker, please go check out. They're awesome. But yes.
yeah. And he was just low barrier to entry on everything. He doesn't go to a fancy studio. He doesn't do anything, and he doesn't care about music videos. I just think he loves making music. And I was like, I should just do this. I should write a song and put it out and not think about anything else about how it's getting distributed or what's going to happen with it. Just write music for fun. And so I started doing that, and next thing I know, I've got an EP coming out. So
That is very
just try to have
cool.
fun.
And I feel like it takes a lot of gusto, to do something like that. I feel like I've always been kind of in the same boat, because like I feel like a lot of people don't realize that like I also play guitar, and so like people are like, oh my god, you should release stuff, and I'm just like, I don't have time to do it because I do this thing where I talk to other musicians and stuff, which is, I want to discredit it. It's a great thing, but
Right.
like I have to appreciate it for for what you do, JJ, because I was like, man, like when I was like listening to it, because you know as being a good interviewer, you have to listen to the music that people that you're interviewing are doing, and I was like, I'm always about instrumental music. I've loved it. I'm a big fan of like Tides Man. You mentioned Cloud Kicker as well, and like Explosions in the Sky, all that sort of stuff. Like I'm all on board with that sort of music, and I love listening to it because I could like make dinner and listen to like the
Right.
instrumental music. And so, when you had messaged me about this, I was like, yeah, I love getting instrumental, musicians on. And so I felt like it was just kind of like, does this vibe with what I'm doing, which is like mostly everything. I'm all about all types of music. I would say more broadly, I'm not that big of a country fan, but I'll have them
Me
on.
neither.
And so when I was listening to your stuff, I was like, man, I'm at work. Like, what can I listen to? And I was like, oh, I'm having JJ on his band. And so I was like, gotta listen to it. I gotta at least get some music time in. So I was listening to it while I was at work, and I was just like, man, this is really good. Like, I love like the atmosphere of it. And I think that like instrumental music is like, on a different kind of playing field than like people that have singing and stuff. And I feel like you're able to experiment more and like take more risks and stuff because there's no vocals going on in it. How, I guess, like obviously you came more to terms with it in COVID. Like, how do you think the process has been, considering that like this is kind of more so a newer endeavor for you? Have you ever like thought about being in like a band and doing that aspect, or you've always been like, I'm self-sufficient, I'm self-sustaining, like let me do it. So like let me like write the music, let me like produce it all, let me do it all in house, because I have to show a lot of respect for that, because that's basically what I do with this. So
Sure. Yeah, so I've been in bands, definitely play with other musicians. I think there's a lot of beauty collaborating with other people, um, and sharing these like explorations of emotions with other
yeah,
people
sure, yeah.
and see if you can get on that similar wavelength. Say, hey, does this hit you emotionally the same way it hits me? And if so, we just made art together. So I was in a band called Iona Grove, which was a melodic hardcore band,
Nice.
back more around 2013. I played with a band called Here at the End, which is also instrumental progressive metal, more in that vein.
Okay.
Um, and then so some of my favorite bands are Chon and Covet,
Oh, nice.
on the more instrumental side. And so at some point, I'd been writing a couple of these songs for 10 years. And I was like, okay, well, I can't hang out with other people. I can't make music with other people for the most part. I'm just gonna do this and have fun. So yeah, like I think bands are super fun. I've always had difficulty finding a great vocalist. I'll find one, be in a band with one, and then life gets in the way. And so I just don't know any personally that are just in the same point of life as me too.
Sure,
And
yeah.
so I'm just like, I'm not gonna wait for anybody else. I'm just gonna try to do something on my own and see what comes out.
No, and I gotta respect that again, because like that was kind of the same thing I did with like the channel. Like I was like, oh, I don't really see anything. Like, you see a need for like what you want in your life, as well as like a need that you see like music wise, like that you feel like could fill that role. And so like I have to respect that a lot, because that's how I felt about like band interviews. I was like, man, there's no people out here that's like really like having like honest conversations, and like interviewing bands that like aren't like at that popularity yet of like music. And so for
Hmm.
me, it's been really cool. I've been doing this for like 5 years now, and it's been really cool to just see like bands like grow and evolve, and like the friendships that I have on here is really tight. So like you know when you hit me up about doing stuff, I was like, I feel like I find a little bit more camaraderie with like the people that are like really out there to like go get stuff. And I'm not saying like
Hmm.
bands don't do that, because they certainly do that as well, but like when you're a solo artist, you're like, you can't like look around and be like, who's gonna help push me to do this? Like you're literally sitting at your computer desk and you're like, I have to like sit down
Yeah.
and write this, and if I don't, then nothing happens. So
Right.
I totally feel that. And I feel like I felt like last year was like a good time for like bands in general to just like hunker down and like write really good music. Do you feel like at any other point in your life you would have had time to like really write this out, or do you feel like you would have been like, I don't know, like if the pandemic didn't exist, like do you feel like you would have been like, maybe I'll do it another time, like maybe down the line when things like start to like flatten out a little bit more?
I don't know. That's a really good question. Like, would this have happened if I didn't? I would like to think yes. Um, I I feel like I got an inch more close to doing this every year, and I started to get really scared. Like, I just turned 30. I'm worried that
I
like I'm gonna
turned
have a kid or
28. Yeah, I turned 28
yeah,
last month, so I know that.
yeah. It's like life starts happening. I just got engaged, and I was like, this is awesome. I'm really excited for what's going on in my life. I also have a 9 to 5, and it is really exhausting.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, if I don't start doing this now, I'm worried I'm going to be too physically exhausted in a couple of years to get started. So I was like, okay, if I get started now, like maybe at that point, I can really just grow and do music, or at least I'm in a place where I'm not having to hustle so much as a new artist. I know that in a couple of years, I'm going to eat these words and be like, no, it's way harder. Should have started when I was like 25. But yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I also just had so many emotions last year from
Sure.
everything
Yeah.
going on that I was just writing like crazy. I couldn't stop. So I
But
think that was a lot of impetus for this.
Well, I'm glad that the energy carried you on to do this, because like I kind of, like when I feel like I'm gonna be looking back on this when I'm 30 and be like, man, you've been doing this for like 7 years now, like. This is rough. Like you're gonna,
Right.
that's how, like, not like in a bad way, because I feel like I always have love for it, and I imagine you'll probably feel the same way. But like, I feel like there's really like no cap on music. Like, you can do that when, I mean, people still play music in their 70s, you know what I mean, or
Right.
older. And so, I feel like, yeah, it's like life is busy for everybody, and I imagine it's obviously a little bit more tumultuous now. But like in general, I just feel like if you're gonna do it, you might as well. I always felt like with the channel and stuff, like I don't want to look back and like regret that I didn't do it, And so like at least if I'm doing it and I reach my peak and I'm like I can't do it anymore just because like life happens and stuff, then I can just put it on hiatus or like close it out, close out that chapter of my life. But I didn't want to just be like, oh man, like I really wish I interviewed all these bands, because
Yeah.
that would suck. Like if I look back and I was just like, man, I have just like a lot of regret about it. And also like, who's going to be listening to like a 40-year-old, like talking about like metal music or like something like that. It just doesn't feel really fit the narrative. But no, I totally get that. And so I'm glad, obviously not glad what has been going on in the pandemic, but I'm glad that you were able to kind of find like an outlet to
Right.
make music and to grow as an artist. I guess my next question, JJ, is what is one of the favorite songs that you have come up with on this EP? Like if you had to recommend a song to somebody that isn't familiar with Pictures of Wildlife, like which one or what song would you recommend to them to listen to first?
This is a funny question because the song I thought would be the most agreeable or at least would catch the most people was Coastal Flora, and it's like my lowest plays. I feel like anyone I talk to
Oh
is like,
man.
they never bring that one up. I'm like, man, that's so confusing to me. And I thought the least strong song on the album, but I still wanted to release it. I was like, I don't know if this fits, but maybe people will like it, is Gloom. And that one's had, everybody's been DMing me being like, this one got me.
Yeah.
This is sick. I'm like, what? But to answer your question directly is the last song that comes out on the 16th of April when the whole EP comes out is called Caldera.
Okay.
And it was the first one that I feel like I wrote for this project. Other songs I wrote for just whatever back in college or after college.
Yeah.
And I like repurposed for this, but it all started with this one song called Caldera. And I sent it to a couple of my friends who like American football or Explosions in the Sky,
Nice.
this kind of vein of music, and they were like, you have to do this. Like I just understand your emotions, I understand what you're going through in your life, and you have to ride this one out and just see where it takes you. So I wrote that song and I was like, no, I have to save this one for last. And then I released everything else. But yeah, that's the one I think I like the best.
Well, I'm very excited about that one because I love both American football and Explosions in the Sky, as I mentioned earlier. So, I feel like I have to listen to that. So you're gonna have to send those over.
Yeah, I'll send
for
it
sure.
your way when it comes out.
But no, I checked out. I think it was Coastal Flora, and I was like, I agree with you. I don't know how people didn't like that song. Like I feel like that one's a ripper. I love that. Gloom, I can
Thanks.
understand why people like that one too. But like Coastal Flora, I don't know. Like I feel like that
I was
one
like, it's
was
like a
super tight.
driving. Yeah, I thought so. I've been trying to ride this wave between like math rock and post rock,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
some
yeah.
prog rock too. I don't have a favorite out of the three of those. Like every day I wake up and it's like split personality.
Feeling a
I'm like,
different
is it?
mood. Yeah.
Yeah, it totally depends on my mood. So I was like, well, I have all of these emotions, so I won't try to fit myself into one bucket. And that one I felt like is more of like punk, math rock, post rock kind of thing.
Yeah.
And maybe it's too driving for some people and not driving enough for others. I don't know.
I feel like it's just like when you said like, oh yeah, we're post rock, and I went to go listen, and I was like, man, I'm gonna have like these like really just like expansive like, And when I listened to Coastal Florida, I was like, feels like more of a like, I mean, it feels like more in your face in a way. Like, I know you mentioned Chon, and Chon's like one of my favorite bands as well. And I was just like, this feels very like Chon esque, you know, like it does have that like math rock. It does have that vibe to it, but it does have more of a like straightforward, like, I want to say straightforward. It definitely has more of a punch to it than I feel like
Yeah.
than Gloom does. And so, yeah, I don't get it. Who
It's like
knows?
funny. It's like all in 4/4, and it's just like it's like a rock song without vocals. But
Pretty
anyways,
much,
it
yeah.
yeah.
And that one struck me first, and then I was like, let me go listen to the rest of it. And then I was like, Gloom's also very good. So I was like,
That it was also my first song I released, so maybe it just didn't get the same traction now that I have like people listening to it more regularly.
yeah,
So maybe when the EP comes out, people rediscover it and be into it.
being, oh, 100%. Well, again, guys, I feel like if you're watching this, please go check out Pictures of Wildlife. I'll leave all of the links below. But the next question, JJ, I feel like you kind of answered it, but I want to kind of get more of a definite answer. Who are you influenced by specifically? Like, I guess who started you out playing? Like, you play bass and guitar, and I imagine, I don't know if you program drums or if you play drums. If you play drums, that's also very impressive. But like, who influenced you growing up, and I guess who influences your music more currently, or I guess the stuff that's coming out on the EP?
Sure. So I don't play drums. I
Oh,
wish I did. I can kind of play drums, but not in a apartment in Los Angeles. So
yeah,
everything is programmed. I make jokes with my friends because everything starts off in the program I use called Logic.
nice.
There's this track called Drummer, and Drummer, you pick the name of this person, and they lay down a field or a feel, and then I use that to write a lot because I'm like, okay, I don't want to sit down and think. Everything I do, sorry, backtrack. Everything I do is as fast as possible, with no barriers. I don't want to sit down and be like, man, I have to write this drum track. It's going to take me an hour per minute. Is usually like how long it takes me to write something. That means I'm going to, in 3 hours, have 3 minutes, and I just wasted my night like only on drums. I didn't really like ride the emotion.
Yeah, you didn't feel it out.
So yeah, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to bed now, and I don't have the song. So what I started doing is you pick a name of the person that the drummer based on like the feel, and I
Sure.
always end up with this guy Kyle. So I joke that it's just me and this guy Kyle.
It's you and
Um,
Kyle. Yeah, that's the secret
it's me and
member.
Kyle. So Kyle comes in, he lays down the feel, and then as soon as I have got a feel for it, I change it around. So that's my drummer, but I do definitely program it. As it goes to influences, to go back to your question, last summer I really dove into the new Covet album, and I was just really feeling it. That song Nero, like I just started blasting in the car. I love to run to that album. I love to run to Chon. Like anything that gets me in this like vibey headspace, that's instrumental just really resonates with me. But on the other side, on a more vocal driven, Radiohead's for sure my favorite band. I
Nice.
love
Yeah.
Thrice. So my tastes are all over the place. Meshuggah is probably in my top
Ooh.
three. So it's like rhythmic, very spacey, but also like kind of melancholy.
Yeah.
Really gets to me. Just big, beautiful, melancholic, I don't know if that's a word, soundscapes really bring it home for me. So those are probably my biggest influences, and American football,
There we go.
along with everybody with a Telecaster playing math rock.
I do feel like, at least from when I was listening to this stuff, I was like, what bands like that I know that I would be like, what I would associate kind of JJ's stuff with. And I was thinking definitely Covet. I was thinking Chon, and I probably put Pliny in there. I feel like
Yeah,
I feel like if I had to kind of, if people were like, I need three bands to describe, Pictures of Wildlife, I'd probably pick those three, because they have, like, because again, you kind of have that stuff that like Yvette does in her music, and then like same with Mario and Nathan, like they got or Mario and Eric, excuse me, and also I forget Plenty. I think his name's not Plenty, but you know who I'm talking about. Yeah,
I don't know what his name is, but
I
he's one of
think
my favorite guitarists too.
uh,
He only goes as Plenty, but I don't know. I feel like he's mysterious and he probably has a name
he definitely
like
has a name.
Carl.
I know for sure he has a name, but I don't I don't remember it. So
His license plate just says Plenty.
Plenty on it,
No
yeah.
less.
So everybody knows his car. But no, yeah, I do feel that, and then I probably say as an honorable mention, I probably say like new, like first two, or not first two, the newest two Tides of Man's records. I feel like you
Oh,
kind
cool.
of vibe. I feel like at least like every nothing. I was like, yeah, I was like, I can hear like some. I wouldn't say exactly the same, but I can definitely hear some stuff, and so I'm all about all of those bands. So I was like,
Cool.
yeah, this is right up my alley. Love it. Like I love that I don't have to like physically go out and look for this band because it already exists, you know. But yeah, no, I really like that, and I feel like again those types of bands. If you like those bands, you're definitely gonna like JJ's band. So go check them out. The next question, JJ, is a fun one, and I'm curious how you're gonna answer it because you are an instrumental band. But if you could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
Oh, easy. Weird Fishes by Radiohead.
Ooh, okay. Would you go the route of instrumental? Would you try to make it an instrumental track?
So I have this thing. Where is it? Like on my studio desk. It's called an EBO.
Oh,
And it
nice.
looks
Yep.
like this. For anyone
Yep.
watching,
I have. I
it's like
think.
electro.
Let me see if I have it. Actually, ironically enough, I have just the box, but
Yeah,
yes.
same one that I have. And it's an electromagnetic, like anti-pick device, and it makes these like beautiful sustained leads. But anyways, yeah, I think that using this with like a bunch of delay and reverb could sound like a really cool way to emulate Tom York's falsetto vocals. My buddy Josh in a band called Thought Trials. Apparently his band used to cover it. I think they were called Nomad. Um, but yeah, check out Thought Trials. Apparently he used to cover it, and I was like,
You're like,
dang it.
damn. You're like, damn. He took mine. That's it.
Yeah. So I've been working on some covers just for fun, but I also might play them live or do some sort of like covers EP. Radiohead, Thrice is always fun to play. Circa,
Nice. Yeah, circa.
these kind of bands, probably bands that do have vocals, and then try to either mellow them out or make them more like a post-rock ambient vibe.
I feel like you could rock with a Circa Survive track. Like they already have that like post rocky vibe, and then like Anthony Green's range is so up there that
Right.
I feel like it could be imitated on a guitar for sure, 100%.
Yeah, I'm like trying to experiment with it. If it works out, cool, you'll probably see it next year. If not, then I'm just playing in my room.
Well, if you have any suggestions for pictures of wildlife, drop them in the comments. I'm sure he'll check them
Yes.
out, and who knows, maybe your choice will be his choice. But the next question, JJ, another fun one. What is your favorite food to eat?
Pizza. That's like a
Given.
next. Yeah, I'm a big pizza enthusiast. But weirdly enough, and my obviously I'm letting in that my tastes are the same as a 12-year-old boy, but I've gotten so into cereal. Like I have no idea. I think I didn't eat it for like maybe 15 years.
Yeah.
I didn't really like breakfast, so it's never been something that's popped up. And then COVID hit, and I was like, man, I kind of want some Fruity Pebbles. So I went out and bought some Fruity Pebbles, and it's like, it makes such a good dessert. I had no idea because it's so sugary. Like I'm not going to eat it for breakfast. But, yeah, so those coffee, pizza, cereal.
Coffee,
That's
pizza,
it.
cereal. There you go. Oh
Three
my
major
God.
food groups.
It is 100%. I will say though, I'm glad you picked pizza. Though I will say, you have to come to the East Coast for pizza. That's like that.
I totally agree.
That's where
There's no
that's where the vibe is.
competition.
No competition for sure.
There's like 4 really good pizza places in Los Angeles. If you're ever out, I'll show you around. But yeah, no, there's nothing better than like a New York slice of pizza. Just it's it. Yeah.
And I will say, like, I don't know. I would actually have to care to agree with you on the cereal thing. Like, my girlfriend's been buying a lot of, like, she buys cereal, like, when we go to the grocery store. And I'm just like, why? When am I ever gonna eat cereal, right? And then she's just like, oh well, we can have cereal for breakfast, and I was like, all right. So currently in my pantry right now, I have Apple Jacks, which gotta say, S plus tier cereal. Apple
Yes,
Jacks.
dude.
If you would love to sponsor both JJ and I would have a ball because listen, cereal's
It's so
delicious.
good.
I forgot, like,
I
I feel like I'm just like really old as dirt because I'm just like I love cereal now, and that just maybe be because I'm getting older and I'm just like cereal's delicious, but like, um, but yeah, no, I
I
love that really junky. I don't know why, like I don't really indulge in anything too much, but like I don't know, like very like child sugary cereal is just
Oh, it's
something
just so
magical.
bad and so good. But like there, I didn't realize that I totally had forgot that there's like the snack pack where there's eight
Ah,
different kinds in
yeah,
these small
yeah,
boxes.
yeah,
That is a treat.
yeah. It's you never know. So I will say, at least for me, I'm gonna put it out there. I feel like Cinnamon Toast Crunch is an S tier cereal.
Totally.
However, that just weird thing about like that guy getting some like I don't know.
Topanga.
I think I want to say it's got to be it looks like a shrimp tail. I don't know how they would have botched it in any other
100%
way.
shrimp tail. I so I was at the store and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the Kellogg snack pack. My fiance was like, do not buy that. There was there's
I love how she
this
was
is
like,
just
"Don't get it." Like, don't. How old are you? You were like 30
yeah. She was
years
like,
old. Yeah.
Topanga just tweeted about this yesterday. Like, you should not do this. And I was like, the good thing about the snack packs is they're like this big.
So
So I kind
there's
of
no.
figured,
Yeah. So if anything, you got like one large shrimp tail in your snack pack
oh
size
man,
cereal.
that'd be kind of like a treat, like a surprise.
It's the
It's
prize.
like the toy. Whoa, it's something new.
Oh my god. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Well,
that's gross. I don't want any
it
shrimp
is.
tails.
Neither do I. So I feel like watching that transpire kind of knocked my opinion of Cinnamon Toast Crunch down just a smidge. It's still
Me too.
S tier cereal, but like I'm a little bit less wary of actually going out to go buy Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I like half the second because we were like food shopping this weekend. And I was just like, we had to like second guess on getting Cinnamon Toast Crunch because we were like, do we risk getting shrimp tails in our cereal? It's a risk
Right,
worth
you have to
taking.
go with General Mills or something now. It's like, what does General Mills even make? Like, life's pretty good, but
Life's good. Yes. I feel like we are really pitching for the cereal brand sponsorship. So, Kellogg's, if you want to like sponsor us, that would be lovely.
and the
Uh,
unsung hero, which is I like oat milk. So I'm
oh,
like,
nice.
throw that sponsorship this way for
Oh,
sure.
milk. Yeah, 100%. I'm on the almond milk train, but like oat milk's up there too for sure. So,
For sure.
if you guys want to like listen, if Silk wants to sponsor us, if like Kellogg's wants, if you want to do like a joint collab,
Chobani,
like
what's up?
Chobani, listen, we'll throw it all in there. Let's go. But the next question, JJ, keeping it musical because this is what we're here for. As much as I'd love to talk about cereal with you for the next 3 hours,
For sure, for sure.
if you were to have a guest feature on your next record and a producer you'd like to work with on your like collective dream team, who would you want to work with?
Man, I was not expecting this question, but probably Will Yip.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
my buddy Rob in the band called Hereafter. Another, so all my friends at this point in this genre are just like, I have this group of probably 20 post rock musicians, and all we do is talk shop all day with producers and bands and shops and video games all day. So shout out to the Post Everything group. But uh, Rob turned me on to, well, Yip, who I had no idea was just like the producer behind all these amazing albums,
Yeah.
circa. So it would be amazing to work with him. And then as a guest feature, either there's a guy out here called Ian Roller, and he plays sax, and he played sax for Victoria. And if you haven't heard of Victoria, you should definitely check them out. Another amazing guitarist out of Los Angeles. And Matt Garska from Animals as Leaders plays drums with him. So
Oh, sick.
Ian plays sax for them live, or at least did. And I think saxophone is just this beautiful instrument. It's being used a lot right now, but I would love to hear it in an ambient soundscape. So probably him as a guest vocalist. Ian, if you're listening, I'll hit you up. Um, or probably like a really amazing drummer,
Yeah.
somebody who can just not be Kyle, my little
Hmm.
robot studio drummer.
Kyle is currently setting up a Logic session right now and being very
Yeah,
upset, you know. So,
he's always late to practice, but he's always on time music wise. So
so that's what you need. That's what you need a Kyle like that. But no, I didn't know that, so I'll have to check out. I'll have to check out them all of the
I'll send you a
people
link for
mentioned.
Victoria. That's
Yeah,
just
that I'm sure it's.
mind blowing.
Listen, if it's got Matt Garska in it, I mean, that's nuts. Like you already sold me on Matt Garska, so like
Yeah.
definitely gonna have to check that out. And if you haven't heard of them, you should go check them out as well. And if you'd also like to see, you know, pictures of wildlife with a Will Yip collab, listen, like I don't know if he's on Twitter or not, and I know we've been just like throwing out the like, you know, the just like shout outs, you know, but like
At Kellogg, at Will Yip.
at Kellogg, at Will Yip, all in the same tweet. You know, if you could do that, I feel like that would be wild, first of all, and secondly, very cool. So go do that. But the next question, JJ, obviously you play guitar, bass, and stuff like that. If there was another musical instrument you could add to your arsenal, which one would you want to learn?
50-50 toss up between vocals and drums, for sure. I probably would have started more of like a everything project if I could sing. But I just can't do it. Maybe one day I'll figure it out, but it just doesn't happen for me. Or drums. Everything I listen to, I'm like drum first,
Yeah.
especially Meshuggah.
100%.
I'm always just like listening to the kick and just trying to follow that. So yeah, I would love to play drums, but I started on guitar and bass first, and I had angry neighbors growing up, so it didn't happen.
I feel that like I started out playing guitar and then I just recently bought a bass, so I'm gonna be learning that. And I feel like you're continuing my trend on audio addiction for like 5 years now, that every guitar player I've had on has said drums as their answer. I feel like it's just like there's no hand-feet coordination amongst guitar players, and if you are a guitar player that has that, good for you.
Right.
But I feel like a lot of people I've had on have been like, yo, I have no hand-feet coordination, so like I'd love to play drums, but like I can't keep a beat or something. So
Yeah, the coordination's tough. Like I can do like a punk beat or a rock beat in like 3/4/4/4, but if you start throwing some complex stuff my way or like just odd time signatures, I'm out. Tap out.
I'm kind of the same way, even though I don't really have a kit. Like I'd probably wind up getting like an electronic kit or something like that, because I'm not like, you know, trying to mic up my apartment and with
Right.
with a drum set. I'm sure my downstairs neighbor would not be very appreciative
Murder.
of that. But the next question, JJ, my personal favorite, because I'm a nerd and I love asking it, if you could be a video game character, who would you be?
Ooh, man. So that is my biggest hobby of 2020. I grew up as a big gamer, and then COVID hit, and I was like, I'm done. I'm gonna start playing video games every single night. So I beat like every game on my backlog. So that is a loaded question.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Man, it's hard because like a lot of the characters I would pick, like Kratos or Cloud, like their life sucks.
Yes.
So I wouldn't want to be them in their world. But bringing them into this world, I don't know. I'd probably go with like Link or something like that, because that sounds like being in Zeldaverse would be super dope. I feel like that life is worth the magical trade-offs of being in this realm. So yeah, I'd probably go that route.
I like that you cost evaluated, you know, the magicalness of like Zelda with, hey, could I do this in real life, you know? So I feel
Yeah,
that
right.
I respect that answer immensely. You know, as being a large video game lover, you know, I'm more specifically a Nintendo person, just
Yeah, me
generally.
too.
But, you know, I feel like every console has like a really good game. I will say one of my personal favorites that I don't get to play a lot because I don't have a PlayStation, I would say is this little dude here,
Oh
Sora
yeah, for
from
sure.
Kingdom Hearts. That is one of my favorites, even though I don't have a PlayStation. But
I
my
feel like they'll do a Switch release of like the last two or three.
listen, I would be all for that. Like, I would love to have Kingdom Hearts on the go, but unfortunately, it's not a thing. So if Square
Not
Enix,
yet.
if
Not
you're
yet.
watching this, that would be very sick. I would be all about it. Also, if you want to bring like the new Final Fantasy over to the Switch, that would be,
Yeah.
if you want to bring new 7 over, that would be very cool. I would be all about
Yeah,
that.
that'd be pretty dope.
But yes, I like your answer a lot. Listen, Nintendo, you struck the chords, Nintendo chords in my heart. So,
For
kudos to
sure.
you, JJ. The next question is, JJ, if you were to compile a dream tour lineup, who would be on that tour? Obviously, your band would be included. I feel like that's a
Oh,
given, but
cool.
just just in case you didn't know.
Sure. Man, this would be a toss-up from picking bands that I just know the musicians and I love. Like, there's a really great band called Inner Space. You should definitely have them
Okay,
on or podcast interview video.
Inner Space,
Uh,
you're welcome.
yeah, they're
Come on.
great. I'll send them to you guys. So like, I would love to tour with those guys because I'm close friends with everybody in the band. But if we're talking like big names, great tour. Thrice is one of my favorite bands.
Ooh,
Would love
yeah.
to tour with Thrice. Um, every single band I've mentioned so far. Probably not Meshuggah. I feel like that'd be a weird one. But getting on like a Pliny tour would be like dream.
Oh,
It seems like
100%.
really nice people for
I
sure.
I'll tell a funny story. So like, I'm very good friends with Covet, and they were touring with, I believe it was Dance Gavin Dance last, maybe like last year, a year or two before, and Forrest, their drummer, were playing. Ironically enough, we were playing Smash because he brought his Switch on
For
tour, and so
sure.
we were playing Smash. Of course, you gotta anytime somebody challenges you in Smash, you're not a baby. You gotta step up to the
Wait, what's your
plate. But
character?
my okay, so my characters, I've been retired slightly. Like, I do play Ultimate, but like I'm like semi-retired. But I've really been into like Pyramithra, the new characters.
Ooh.
But I would say my like all-time mains are Yoshi, Samus, and Dark Pit are probably my 3 top. Probably Banjo actually too. So I feel like those 4 I've really like worked on, and that I feel like I'm good with. So I would say that. What about you, JJ?
Link. I'm like a sucker for Zelda stuff. So, like, ever since the first one came out, it's been like, oh, here are all the iterations of playing the same character over and over again.
But like
Link,
slightly
I like
better.
Captain Falcon too. Yeah, like slightly better for every time. Captain Falcon. Um, I like played Fox for a while, but I felt like his DPS just didn't do it for me. I was like, I'm having to hit people too much. But
Yeah,
he's fast. So, anyways, yeah.
I would agree.
Sorry,
He's
I interrupted your story though.
no problem. So I'm always down to talk about Smash, of course. But so anyway, so Forrest was like, oh well, like we're gonna probably get ready to like rock or whatever. Let me see where like Yvette's at and stuff. And all I remember was he like texted her, and she was like, oh, we're like in Periphery's tour bus, because Periphery was also on that tour.
Yeah.
So he was like, oh, you want to come hang out on Periphery's tour bus? And I was like, who's gonna say no to
Duh.
that? Because that sounds sick. So I hung out with I hung out in their bus, and um, I think the same time there was another instrumental tour going around, which was Pliny. I think David Maxim Mimic. I'm pretty sure that's how
Yeah.
you pronunciate his name. If I butchered it, I'm sorry. And I don't know what the other band was, but they showed up because they were both in Philly on the same tour date. So I literally had met like Pliny, like the Periphery guy. It was very cool. They're all very
It's like
nice people.
everybody in that group.
It was literally like, if you were a guitar player, this was like I died and went to guitar heaven, because like literally all of them were just hanging out and like just talking about like tour and stuff, and I was just sitting there just like I was just like sitting there like sulking in like the tour van seat, and I was just like, oh my god, this is great. Like
This is
I'm
so
here.
cool.
I'm here.
I
Um,
think I went to both of those tours. I think I know exactly which ones you're talking about too. And I'm like racking my brain thinking there's like such an obvious answer for the David Maximinic tour with Pliny. I think my friends in Interspace opened for them on the Denver date.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'll look it up. I'll look it up, but I'll ask you the next question. Oh wait, you didn't answer with the tour, so now I'll actually be able to like look up the answer while you're
okay.
answering the question.
Okay, so Dream Tour,
Yes,
Plenty.
correct.
I would say Covet for sure. Just because like these are two of my favorite style. And Sean, yeah, it's my major influences for sure.
Ooh, yeah. I would that. I mean, I feel like that tour exists or had existed, and I mean, I'd be down. Listen, I'd be down to see it again. I mean, I love
Yeah,
Covet. They're the best. I am still looking for this tour. This must have been he
I
posts.
feel like I feel
Um,
like the Periphery one also had Polyphia, but I'm also probably getting things mixed up.
I'm
Uh,
literally. Oh, I think it was. Oh man, I'm keep like I know it's here. Like I could. I like. I feel like I'm getting really close to like finding out what it is. Okay, here we go. I think this is it.
Almost there.
Was it this one? No. So it was Pliny. It looks like, if I'm guessing this is correct, it might be wrong. It's Pliny, Mestis, and David McKay. So I was wrong about the David Max. I did get
Ah,
Dave
they
correct.
did do a tour together.
They did do a tour together. So I feel like I was just meshing two different tours together, but no, yes, it was Mestis. That's who it was. So I don't know if Javier was there, but I would have been like freaking out.
I feel like the Periphery Covet tour. I could be like totally off base, but I think Little Ty B played on that too. But I'm not totally sure.
I think it was. Maybe it
There was like
was.
this span in Denver when I was living in Denver where I was going to shows like 3 nights a week, and I think that whole time is a blur. I'm
We could
like, wait,
both
did
be completely wrong.
Oceano play that?
We could
Yeah,
both
yeah.
be completely wrong. I want to say, I want to say it was actually, I want to say it was possibly Periphery, Covet, and Astronoid. I want to say that was definitely.
Yeah.
I think that was for sure a tour. Anyway, we're both old, so forgive us. But
My
that,
brain.
but my brain. But I do feel like that tour, if it hasn't already existed, should exist because that would just be a fun, very fun tour. So guys, I mean, I know I could ask Covet to do this, but that would be very
Do
cool.
it.
Let's do it. Let's make it
Yeah,
happen.
for
Um,
sure.
Next question, JJ. Another fun one. Favorite TV show, favorite movie.
Ooh, okay. Favorite TV show. I That is such a hard question. I don't know if I have an answer for that. I really liked Mandalorian a lot. But I feel like I don't have an answer for this. I might go with something like weird, like Malcolm in the Middle, or like I don't know. My brain is just like, no, there is no
Mush.
answer for this. You just like television, and that's what it is. Maybe like Breaking Bad. I feel
Okay.
like that one was really stuck with me. Um, and then favorite movie. This answer has changed a lot in my life from The Big Lebowski. My whole
Nice.
youth was Star Wars. Like
Oh,
definitely
same.
huge obsessed with Star Wars.
100%.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like the Coen brothers, everything that they've done. Yeah, my brain is also not allowing music or TV, or sorry, movies and TV. It's like another part of my brain.
That just is
Um,
closed off.
yeah, it's like, nope, you've never seen any movies or television. Like,
You're gonna remember them like a flood of information later. So
oh, totally. I'm gonna be like 3 in the morning, wake up like, oh, it's
and
actually
message me.
Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'm
That's
gonna
your
see,
favorite movie.
yeah, I'm gonna see like a message. I'm gonna see a message from you later, and you're gonna be like, "These were my favorites." So if you do message me later, post Brandon will be on the case. So if you would like to, the text will show up over JJ in some area. So
Absolutely.
the answers you seek will be there. So the next question, JJ, another fun one. if well, I guess less fun, but still, I guess interesting. But anyway, if you were trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was one record you could bring with
Oh,
you, what would it be?
that's brutal, man.
It's a month. I feel like everybody's like, "Man, this sucks," and I'm just like, "It's a month." I feel like
You could do it.
people could survive, you know?
Yeah, it might be Obson by Meshuggah. I like
Woo!
love that album, and I've probably listened to it like 2 billion times. Um, and for whatever reason, I never get sick of it. That or um, like the Chan self-titled, I listen
Oh
to
yeah.
constant. Like it's just like any mood, I could put that on and be stoked. So probably one of those two.
Those are both very good answers. I will say, slight plug to me. I just picked up Grow on vinyl because I've been looking for it for a
Nice.
hot second, and some dude on a music forum was selling his copy of it. So I scooped that record store day exclusive
Immediately.
version for $20. So I was very stoked on
Done.
that purchase, you know?
20 bucks, dude. I think have you ever heard of a band called Snooze?
They're awesome. I love Snooze.
I have no idea why everyone's not freaking out about this band,
They're a
but I
great
feel
band.
like they're right in the middle between both of those bands, so I could also go with Still. 'Cause that I feel like every week I'm like, "Hey, everyone I know, you should be listening to this album." I like hit them up all the time on Instagram. I'm like, "Hey, I'm listening to it again."
And they're
They're like,
like,
"Dude, leave us alone." Well, I guess
this is great.
it's mostly just him. He's yeah. Anyways,
I'm sure he's very cool with you. Like I feel like
yeah,
you're
he's
probably
he's pretty chill.
I feel like he's like this is great. So go check out Snooze. Again, they're a band
Yeah.
you should have already known about, but if you don't, then now you do and you should check them out. But also check out Pictures of Wildlife because that's why you're here. So which speaking of which, you know, congrats on making it closer to the end of this interview. First
I
off,
survived.
and secondly, you know, what do you want people to take away from the EP you have coming out and just your band in general? Like, I love asking this question because like I feel like to kind of end off the interview ish like in a introspective way, like
Mm.
what really do you want people like when they're listening to it to like really like evoke or like have feelings of or whatever it may be, um because it's instrumental music, so like I feel like it's at least from my perspective, I feel like it's might be possibly harder to captivate people because they're like, man, why isn't there vocals in this song or whatever, which I don't care. I love
When do the
instrumental
vocals
music.
start?
When do the yeah this song's like 6 minutes in and there's no vocals. No, but like I feel like at least for myself, like instrumental music, it allows me to like listen to music in a different way because it's like there's no vocals here. So like what really captivates me like melodically and stuff. So I'm curious from your perspective, like what do you hope other people listening to your music are like, man, this is Pictures of Wildlife and this is like the synopsis kind of a thing.
I would say two things. One is not music related. I hope if you're listening, this is just a message to not get in your own way. If you're an artist, release your art, share it with other people.
Yeah.
If you're a musician, same story. If you're into film or video or you want to start a podcast, just do it. Um, I feel like everybody waits until it's perfect. And there's definitely a part of life where you should do that, where it's like, I want to take 2 years to make an album. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But you should also try to do things that make you smile or feel self-worth, and to connect with other people. Because I feel ultimately that's what art is you're capturing an emotion in time and you're sharing it with other people and saying like,
Yeah.
hey, if this does something for you, then let's be friends. So one is just like a message, which is just don't get in your own way, release it. It's never going to be perfect. I feel like if you
Yeah.
spend 10 years on an album, you release it and you're going to be like, but the snare tone wasn't exactly what I wanted. It's always going to be 80% of what you wanted it to be, no matter how much time you spent on it. So like I wrote most of these songs over like 2 weekends. And I'm really happy with how they turned out. In fact, I'm probably more happy because I spent like less cognitive brain space and it just capturing the emotion as fast as I could.
Yeah.
Two, and this is only about the music, is I hope that you can sit down and create or feel the emotions I was trying to convey, but also like let this kind of be the backdrop for your own emotions. I've had a lot of friends say that they love to run to this EP, and for me, that's the biggest compliment. I find running to be incredibly cathartic, and especially listening to music, I feel like I've almost come to tears listening to albums I've never felt a strong emotional connection with, because you're just like pure emotion. You
Yeah.
can't do anything else but really connect. You're like zoned in. Or a drive, long drive, or you're just like in flow, or maybe
Yeah.
you drink way too much coffee and it's all you can do is absorb it,
I feel that. Yeah.
and you're like vibrating, and you're like,
Yeah.
wow.
You're like, oh
Yeah,
my God, it's coursing through me right now.
I felt the first time I heard Seder, it was if you haven't
Yeah,
checked them out,
Seder. They're
wow. I listened to them instrumentally first, and I had like 3 cups of coffee that day, and I was like running around my house being like, "This is the best band I've ever heard.
God. Yeah,
They're
like
changing the game." Anyways, yeah, I hope that this album can be somewhat of a backdrop for you to feel something. And if not, that's okay. Maybe I'll catch you on the next album. But this is me feeling like so many emotions. I went through loss last year. You know, I got engaged. I had success in my professional career and failure. And on top of that, there was racial divide and a pandemic. And it was just a really tumultuous time. And my brain had an amazingly difficult time processing any and everything.
yeah.
And this is just me capturing all of these emotions, putting them in a jar as fast as I could, and being like, "Here you go." So yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
No, I appreciate that explanation, because like I hope, again, I hope people made it into the end of this interview more specifically, but like also I feel like with instrumental music, I would say even with your music, like I was just like fully entranced in it. Like I feel like I wish I had a deeper appreciation for it, and I'll probably go back and listen to it again, but like I was at work and I was just doing work and I was listening to it and I was like, man, this is really like
That's what I want.
it was
For
really
sure.
like it really kind of took me out of that spot at work and just like kind of put me in a in that emotional state of that emotional plane. And so for me, like I really enjoy that, and I think that's like the catharticness of like instrumental music. I feel like that you don't get with like music that has vocals on it. Like, not to say that you don't feel the same way, but like I feel like I feel different emotions when I'm listening to instrumental music as opposed to like if a band's like screaming in my face and like all that sort of stuff. There's just two levels of like catharticness, if that's even a word, that like I feel like I experience. And so like when I was listening to your stuff, I was like, man, this is like really good, and I'm excited to just maybe like if I ever get a moment to like sit down and like really delve into something, like I'd really like to get more into that. And so I'd highly recommend people to go check out Pictures of Wildlife if you haven't already. If you enjoyed this so far, like I feel like you should definitely like at least take a listen to it and like really kind of like be enveloped by it, because I think it spoke to me, and so I'm excited to listen to the rest of it, of course.
Cool.
But the next thing, JJ, like I said, we've reached the end of the line. Tell the people about Pictures of Wildlife, obviously where they can find you at on social media. If you want to talk a little bit more about like the EP and stuff like that, you're more than welcome to, and anything else you'd like to
Sure.
plug or talk about.
Cool. I won't ramble, I promise. But
Go on ahead. I
I
don't
have
care.
I have an EP coming out on April 16th. It's called Tureen. This is the first time I've said it. And it's going to go through, like I said, all the emotions that I felt through last year. Tureen means of the world, or kind of earthly. So each of the songs tries to capture both an emotion, but also something within an element of nature, if you will. Some of them are blended. Twin Pines is like mountains and trees and snow. gloom is clearly rain, but also the air and the emotion that goes and the energy that happens.
Yeah.
I think in that special moment, Caldera, which is an unreleased song, is fire, passion, um, and all of these things tied together. So um, Terrain will be out April 16th. It'll be for sure on Where Post Rock Dwells YouTube channel. Ronnie is the man over there. And Can also at World Has Post Rock. I believe that'll be there. So yeah, you'll find it on all streaming platforms. Shout out to the Post Everything group. There are 20 amazing musicians, Secret Gardens, Thought Trials. I'm not going to name every single person. Those guys have very recent release. Darkfield has a really recent release that's amazing. Promissory, Oriana, I'm not going to name everybody's band, but there's a lot of people who have just recently put out albums that that's pretty much all I listen to at this point. And all of them have been featured on Where Post Rock Dwells with Ronnie. So definitely go check out that YouTube channel. Just put it on and let it cruise. I do that every day at work and it gets me through. So yeah, Post Everything group, the new EP. I'm trying to think of anything else. I think that's it.
Tell them where they can find you at on the social medias.
Oh yeah, good point, man.
That would be
so
important.
Yeah, because I'm a solo artist, most every one of my tags is jj.powl or pictures of wildlife. You should be able to search pictures of wildlife. I play a lot of guitar videos and check out gear and stuff like that. So that's what I got.
There we go. Also, shout outs to Secret Guardians, Greg. Love Greg. He's the homie. I've had Greg on here.
It's his birthday today.
Shout outs to happy birthday, Greg. Love you, dude. I had him on last year, but I've also known him for a couple years because his previous band Vista toured through, and I've interviewed him like a handful of times now at this point. So shout outs to Greg. Happy birthday, bud. But anyway, the real reason y'all are here is to go check out Pictures of Wildlife. I will leave all of the links in the description where you can find out about JJ's music, his EP, which by the time this interview comes out, it will probably be out at that point. So congrats on the release. I know it's like still early for you technically, but like very
future
exciting.
Life. That's cool.
Future JJ. But go check that out. Also, if you would love to hear his JJ's music is produced by Will Yip and Kellogg Cereal, make sure to tweet them on Twitter. And make sure to tag Audio Addiction if you feel so inclined to. And if you enjoyed this content, make sure to share, like, and subscribe. Again, I feel like just a YouTube boomer and just asking for your love and admiration, but like it does help out the channel and it helps me get out to more people like you, so that's always greatly appreciated. And thank you in advance, and also thank you to JJ from Pictures of Wildlife for coming on and chatting tonight.
You got it, man. Thank you for having me.